the Honorable Minister of Education, heavily represented by Professor Morel K.G. Onduwani. You are welcome, sir. The Vice Chancellor of this university, Professor Ali Suleiman, heavily represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Muhammad Nuwaro. You are welcome, sir. The Dean of the Faculty of Natural Sciences at this university, the registrar, sir, the bursar, and so on. Professors here on the high table, over senior in the faculty, and those that are in attendance for this very conference. You are all welcome. On behalf of the Central Organizing Committee of this conference of the Faculty of Natural Sciences, IBD University, wish to welcome you to this very fourth Faculty of Natural Sciences Conference of 2025 with the theme Advancing Science, Technology, and Innovation for Sustainable Development in Nigeria. I think this theme cannot be at a better time than now, most especially because just 2 days ago we are receiving some kind of threats from the President of the United States of America telling us about certain things. I think with our innovations and scientific development, we should be ready to absorb and sustain whatever will come out of it, as we are ready to take it ourselves. It's like the Faculty of Natural Sciences is saying tomorrow, and that's why those people that we are ready to help this as the team for this particular conference. I think from here, we shall go ahead and advance to see what we are going to make out of this origin, to be able to think about our sustainability as a nation, or as a sovereign nation, I should say. All the participants should actually feel free to make their presentation and actually look at it as a scientific way that we shall be actually discussing at this very conference. And we wish to tell us that all the papers presented, after we make observations of our corrections, or after we try to study our corrections and observations, and are able to put up the paper, the faculty journal, that is Najans, is prepared to make a special edition for this very conference. So by the time we make the operations of that and send back to us, we are going to make a presentation on the issues, as we are not able to make the proceedings. So the journal is going to present the proceedings for those who actually return their corrections to us. Also, I wish to especially thank all the committees that put all their heads together to make this conference a very big success. The publicity committee will sincerely appreciate it, and in particular, I want to especially thank the Secretary of the Central Working Committee that I will call him in the midnight for certain things, and he was always equal to the task all the time.
Are you like
for instance, we wish you please stay in the university for this very conference. And once again, you are all welcome to the conference. Thank you very much, sir.
Please, another round of applause for Chairman Blake for the wonderful remark.
I will now call on the Dean, Faculty of Natural Science, Professor Musa Ahmed, to give opening remarks. Hi, Senator, represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor of the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Abstention, the Registrar of the entire Principals of the University, my senior colleagues and members of the Senate, head of department, my spiritual elders in absentia, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor and pleasure that I welcome you all to the fourth Faculty of Natural Science Annual Conference at Fonsac 2025 with the theme Advancing Science, Technology and Innovation for Sustainable Development in Nigeria. Since the first edition, there has been a steady rise in interest among academics and researchers for Fonsac. This year's conference provides an excellent forum for exchanging ideas and discussion in a wide range of research ideas. I hope that Fonsac 2025 has brought together some individuals, researchers who will interact on various topics of interest in science and technology that is required for a sustainable future. I also hope that the participants will use this forum for exchange of knowledge and build collaborative ties for future research. Permit me to extend our heartfelt appreciation to Vice Chancellor and the entire management team for always giving us a listening ear to our numerous challenges and preferring solutions with the see that this conference becomes people reality. I would like to acknowledge with gratitude the effort of the Central Organizing Committee for working so hard to make this conference a reality. To the head of the department and other non-academic staff in the Faculty of Natural Science, thank you all for your contribution. I must also appreciate the effort of other deans in the university for the moral and technical support for this conference. Participants from far and near, you are all welcome. Finally, I wish everyone a fruitful conference celebration and a lot of pleasant memories that will linger for a very long time with consistent development. Thank you for the reply. I'd like to welcome, I'd like to invite the Vice Chancellor, who is represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor at May, Professor Euro, to give welcoming address.
Sockets. So HDMI now is not looking down. HDMI is not looking down. You have to do that. Let me ask you. Yeah.
Honorable Minister of State for Education, heavily represented by Professor Morelli. I think, Prof, I will not talk over the long. if I fail, and then only on occasion. Because we are the first group to arrive at the high table. So you are my second person to our team. The faculty and the registrar of the university also represented by Mrs. Ndayako. The boards are represented too by Madam Ahmed, other professors, other things here present, head of departments, staff, and students of IBB University. I say good afternoon to everybody. What we are about to start is another important aspect of academic content. And the beauty of the university is the quality of its academic content. So the Vice Chancellor would love to be here in person. There is also attending to another critical aspect of academic content of this university, which is accreditation. And that is why he asked me to stand in for him, and I'll be briefly reading his speech as directed. It is with profound appreciation and enormous gratitude to Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala that I welcome you all to the opening ceremony of the 4th annual conference of the Faculty of Natural Sciences. This year's theme, Advancing Science, Technology and Innovation for Sustainable Development in Nigeria, is both timely and captivating, especially as our nation strives to reposition itself on the path of technology-driven and sustainable growth. Let me begin by acknowledging with deep appreciation the visitor and Executive Governor of Niger State, His Excellency, former Governor Right Honorable Dr. Muhammad Omar Bago, for his unrelenting support to IBB University Labai and for his steadfast commitment to the development of education across all levels in the state. Your Excellency, sir, your continued encouragement and investment in the educational sector of Niger State remain a beacon of hope and source of strength to us all. Science and technology are the critical engines of modern civilization, while innovation is their lifeblood. Together, they form the foundation upon which societies build prosperity, ensure environmental sustainability, and enhance the quality of human life. For Nigeria, embracing scientific research, technological advancement, and innovation-driven policies is not merely an academic pursuit. It is an essential imperative for sustainable national development. This conference provides a valuable platform for the cross-fertilization of ideas, sharing of cutting-edge research, and nurturing of collaborations that transcend disciplinary and institutional boundaries. I commend the Faculty of Natural Sciences for its consistent efforts in advancing research and responding to societal needs. The theme of Fonsac 2025 reflects the faculty's unwavering commitment to addressing real-world challenges from energy and environment to agriculture and technology through scientific discovery and innovation.
I will do it so that we
And members
No, I have Wi-Fi.
of the hard work dedication in putting in this.
No, we don't have Zoom yet.
Also extend my gratitude to our esteemed guest speakers and participants for honoring our invitation and enriching our academic community with your presence and intellectual ideas. As a university, we remain resolute in our mission to promote excellence in teaching, research, and community service. We shall continue to support
the hope I have for the
partnerships that enhance scientific capacity and foster the promotion for sustainable national development. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I declare this conference open, I encourage all participants to engage actively, share ideas, and build networks that will create lasting impact beyond the walls of this university. Once again, I warmly welcome you to this year's Faculty of Natural Sciences Annual Conference. May the deliberations be fruitful, inspiring, and transformative in advancing science, technology, and innovation for sustainable Nigeria. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Someone asking for the link.
Thank you, sir. You want to download Zoom here?
Yes. So let me connect to the hotspot.
To give us the citation.
And I didn't have for
the Honorable Minister, Professor.
We have what?
That displayed the link on the distance.
On the yes.
Please, move forward.
The chairman of the occasion,
I hope you're
I've been given a task
up to update.
to read the citation of the Honorable Minister of Education, State for Education, in person of Professor Swaiba Sahib Ahmed, a professor. It was represented by another professor. As a reader, I've been directed to read, so that we shall become one of those who profess. Standing before you is Professor Swaiba Sahib Ahmed, a distinguished academic and educationist and people leader from Jigawa State, Nigeria. She holds a PhD in science education from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and rose ranks at Bayero University, Kano, where she attained the position of a professor of science education in 2024. Her career spans teaching, research, and leadership, including serving as the director of Center for Gender Studies and boss of Jigawa State College of Legal and Remedial Studies. The Swaiba is a passionate advocate for girl child education and women's empowerment. Professor Hammer has consulted widely with national and international development partners on education, policy, and reforms. In October 2024, she was appointed Minister of State for Education by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the GFAL, the Grand Commander of Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the mover of the renewal for Nigeria. And today, we are going to be assured for that renewal of Nigeria. In this role, she champions the quality and inclusive education, driving the key pillars toward the Nigerian education sector, the NOAA initiative, NESCO, and education and quality assurance and girls child education through Luna 2030. So if you want to know what is Luna, Luna is an acronym that represents learning, uniting, modernizing, innovating, nurturing, accelerating, and harmonizing and all this is a Nigerian government policy was educating, empower over 1 million young child and women by 2030. This was to tell you that the renewal is not a fake, but a thing of reality that we are solely to observe. She also provided a strategic learning on the revitalization of the national and logical policy and other critical reforms. She is a politics scholar, a mentor, an advocate of excellence. Professor Carmen continues to she is happy married with children. I cannot see why a leader is to be a citation of a professor. And again, in reading one time a citation of a director of quality assurance, I can see it was I present to you Professor Suwaiba in absentia. Said Ali, simply represented by a man who is known to be a professor that professes for over years, a person of Professor Oluwole Moreli PhD. I present you. You are welcome.
The Vice Chancellor, ably represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor as me, the principal officers there, who are also well represented, the Dean of Faculty, and other deans present, heads of department, eminent professors, invited guests, conference participants, ladies and gentlemen. As the citation was being read, my head was just sweating, as if I was in the minister. But thank you for the prayer. Because when I was the dean of my faculty, those days, effort was to take over the land, where to build the academic publishing center for North Central Nigeria. All the principal officers were not of grant. It was me, Dean, that was called to come and hand over the land to the contractor. When they finished the construction, I had already become the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Academic. BC also traveled. And I was also the one that stood for the BC. Today, I'm standing for the minister, I'm standing for the BC of the Federal University of Technology. And I call myself photocopy of the photocopy. But the original idea to express the paper I'm going to present. I'm also very, very happy to be here. I'm always emotional when I hear I am on your social platform. I always comment. Because I was part of the Senate here when I came on sabbatical and did a lot of things together. That is why most of the faces I see here, I'm very, very happy. So straight to the point. The minister is now speaking. I was made to understand that a few years ago, making a trip by car to this state institution was a great undertaking, and not a road leading to potholes. The pipe was rough and worn by a native. Then you are welcome to the university by an uncompleted abandoned structure at the roundabout. This observation represented a silent symbol of strong dreams and unrealized potential. While preparing for today's occasion, I asked my people whether IDDUL has a helicopter landing pad, but I was told of a brand new and well-paved road that speaks not just of better infrastructure, but of renewed purpose. And that where once the skeleton of a building now rises an iconic edifice, a modern cemetery, signifying commitment and transformative power of hope. This university, like our nation, Nigeria, is on a journey of rebirth through the renewed agenda. And this spirit of renewal that I stand before you today to present this keynote address. I congratulate the Niger State government and the management of the university for this wonderful achievement. I also congratulate the dean of the faculty and staff, not only for organizing this conference, but also for the choice of the team, advancing science, technology, and innovation for sustainable development in Nigeria. This is coming at a time that the federal government, under the renewed hope agenda, approved a suite of forward-looking courses in science, technology, and artificial intelligence for both secondary and tertiary institutions. This includes in secondary school and the university, artificial intelligence and machine learning, data science and analytics, cybersecurity and digital forensics, robotics and mechatronics engineering, biotechnology and genomic sciences, renewable energy engineering, quantum computing fundamental, digital literacy and computational thinking, even in secondary school curriculum. These courses are not just academic offerings, but also national investment in the market that empower Nigeria's quality and sustainable development. To understand where we must go, we must first reflect on where we are going. The Federal Ministry of Education has long recognized the centrality of science and technology to national development. As far back as the 1960s and 1970s, most independent Nigerian made bold strides. The ASB Commission of 1959 and the subsequent establishment of universities like University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, laid foundation for science-based higher education. In the 1980s, the federal government included 6334 system of education. The inclusion of technical colleges and science secondary school was a strategic move to build a pipeline of skilled technicians. Yet, despite this early ambition, implementation was a problem, underfunding, inconsistent policy direction, brain drain, and societal bias towards white-collar profession over technical vocation. But all is not lost. In recent years, we have witnessed a reawakening, a national realization that science, technology, and innovation are not optional luxuries, but essential pillars of sustainable development. Under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, launched following its inauguration on May 29, 2023, science, technology, and innovation (STI) have been elevated as central pillars of national transformation. In recent years, the Federal Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the National University Commission, the National Board for Technical Education, and the Universal Basic Education Commission, have launched a series of transformative curriculum reforms. I will just highlight them. Revised Basic Education Curriculum 2022, Technical and Vocational Education and Training Revitalization of 2023, University Curriculum Innovation, that's the Curriculum Harmonization and Innovation Framework, National Digital Literacy Program, and Innovative Hub and Incubation Center. Needed to state further that under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, the federal government has played science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM at the heart of national development through revitalization of STEM infrastructure, national STEM scholarship scheme. This effort by the federal government through the Federal Ministry of Education are directed at building knowledge-driven economy, where young Nigerians are not just job seekers, but job creators. problem solver, and global contributors in the STEM field. So these reforms are not academic exercises. They are directed responses to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And that is why the minister liked the team, because it is linked to the SDG, particularly SDG 4, quality education, SDG 8, decent work, SDG 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, and SDG 13, climate action. The minister said we should imagine this. A student in Kano learning to code and can develop an app that tracks water quality in rural communities. A graduate from a technical college in Rivers State that can install and maintain microgrids powered by solar energy. A research team at IDD University that can engineer drought-resistant cassava varieties using CRI-SPR technology. So this is the Nigeria we must build. One, where science serves society, technology empowers the marginalized, and innovation drives inclusive and green growth. In conclusion, I hereby call upon this esteemed conference participants to propose robust, forward-looking recommendations, not only on enhancing our current educational and research initiatives, but also on charting a clear pathway toward achieving our national and global sustainable development goals through science, technology, and innovation. It is imperative that the valuable research outcomes generated by our academic and scientific community go beyond the confines of bookshelves and academic journals. Your innovation must translate into tangible solutions that address real-world challenges and drive national development. I therefore urge researchers, scholars, and institutions across the country to leverage the resources available through the tertiary education trust fund to protect and commercialize your intellectual property, patent your invention, bring them to market, and contribute meaningfully to knowledge-driven and innovation-led economy. Thank you. Long live IDD University. Long live Niger State. Long live Federal Republic of Nigeria.
It's another round of applause to the minister. Thank you for the wonderful speech. Let's would like to lighten the mood a bit. We'll invite student from English Department, IDD University, to give us a little entertainment. Here are the students from English Department.
Which kind of teacher? What they mix this in with music.
All right, so we'll skip that a little. So I would like to invite Dr. Hawa. Please come and read the citation for Professor Dixon Musa Shinobu. Sir, Professor Dixon.
Good day, everyone. Good day, professors, Dean, and all of the important guests here present. I am here to give the citation of Professor Dixon Achimbu Musa. He is a distinguished biochemist, biotechnologist, and innovation strategies whose research seamlessly integrates life sciences with artificial intelligence to expedite drug discovery and healthcare solutions derived from Africans' biodiversity. He is currently the director of the Trans-Saharan Disease Research Center in IPP University, here in La Paz, Nigeria, where he spearheads groundbreaking initiatives in pharmaceutical biotechnology, molecular pharmacology, molecular epidemiology, and chem informatics. With a foundation in pharmacological biochemistry,
It's the one who wants to
molecular
present.
chemistry, and environmental
I don't
toxicology,
know if it's.
Professor Musa's research is dedicated to the discovery and development of novel biologics, bioactive peptides, and antimicrobial agents sourced from Nigerian and African flora and fauna. His work is focused on translational biotechnology and vaccine natural product discoveries from laboratories to practical healthcare innovations that address African disease.
But if I'm recording that, how do I sort this? I will just try to see what I can.
He is leading effort to leverage artificial intelligence and machine learning to enhance pharmacological research, bioprospecting, and predictive toxicology. Professor Musa also mentors emerging African scientists in integrating AI into both wet lab and computational workflows for sustainable innovation. He has an extensive publication record in esteemed journals. He has presented at numerous national and international conferences. Beyond academia, he is a prominent thought leader championing ethical research, Christian values in science, and interdisciplinary collaborations across biotechnology, ICT, and healthcare innovation ecosystems. Through his visionary leadership and scientific advocacy, Professor Musa continues to inspire a new generation of African researchers to explore the intersection of artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and biodiversity in shaping the future of global health innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you again Professor Dixie Achimuto Musa from the Department of Biochemistry here in IDP University of Cal. Thank you.
You're welcome. Some of us we're already familiar with Professor Dixie. Yesterday, he gave us a wonderful lecture on integrating AI into research. So he is one of the prominent speakers for today. So, sir, you are welcome to give your speech, sir. Thank you.
Can I have my slides up, please? Is it working?
Yes, sir. Like 20 seconds. The audio is coming up.
Let me use my laptop then. Is it that the laptop is not working or the
Laptop, no,
projector is not working?
HDMI. Don't tell me you need HDMI cable. Don't tell me you need an HDMI cable. Okay. Let me talk to you. Oh, continue. I'll just talk to you.
The Honorable Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Said Ahmad.
The audio is coming. The audio is coming. The audio is coming.
The Vice Chancellor, Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida University, Professor Mohammed Ali Suleiman, ably represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Admin, Professor Niworo, The registrar of the university represented, the president of the university represented, the dean, faculty of natural sciences, members of IDP University community, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be here today to give this plenary talk titled Adapt or Perish. Adapt or Perish. Rethinking research and academic scholarship in the age of artificial intelligence. I was glad that the person giving my citation did not change the ordering of my name. My surname is Musa. So you can either come first or come last. So if you see, disregard what you saw in the program where Achimbu was written as my surname, that's not my surname. My name is Dixon Achimbu Musa. And I'll be presenting this plenary talk on adapt or perish in thinking, research and academic scholarship in the age of artificial intelligence. I would have loved that we have the slides because I prepared very beautiful slides using artificial intelligence aids so that we will see that this thing we are discussing is not a theory, it's something that you see practically. And if you were at the workshop yesterday, we were able to do a lot of things in the short time we had. So, I would like to start by introducing the fact that by 2025, over 70% of research globally now involves AI tools. Over 70% of research globally now involves AI. You're seeing my slide, and you're seeing the graphs and things like that. And I want to ask, how many of us here in this hall belongs to this 70%? How many of us belong to the 70%? Now, I'm not talking of people who use ChatGPT. Right? If you are using ChatGPT, you are still at a very basic level. Very, very basic level. And in fact, a lot of us use ChatGPT the way an old woman in a village will use iPhone 16. You have iPhone 16 and you give it to an old woman in the village, she only make calls with it, receive calls, and that's all. But there are so many things that you cannot do with it, and the capacity is there, and that's how most of us use ChatGPT. So I'm not talking of ChatGPT or Claude or any of those. I'm talking about integrating AI tools into our research and scholarly writing. The old paradigm in research and scholarly writing is that we are limited by our cognitive agents as humans. We can only do so much at once. If we think in a literal manner, we process our thoughts in a literal manner. You move from step A to B to C. You can't do multiple things in your thought process at the same time. So if you are planning and designing your research, it's also literal. And that is a very serious limitation in the whole paradigm. We are also bounded by biological limits and time. There's so much you can achieve within 24-hour cycle, and we cannot do beyond what a normal human being can do. So this is one of the things that happened in the old era. And one brilliant mind will produce a lifetime of very, very beautiful work. So we are trained to work hard, but now we must learn to work intelligently. In fact, it's a problem in Nigeria because a lot of us think if we do not do it, if it is not done the hard way, then it's not the best. You see people when we're moving from four-figure table to the use of calculator, there were a lot of people who fought it. That if you start using calculator, you will not be, your brain capacity will reduce. So you must go back to using four-figure table. But that's a wrong way of thinking. It doesn't have to be hard before it is good. So we need all in the past to work hard, but now we must learn. And in the new paradigm, humans and AI work like an orchestra. Where the human is the director of the orchestra, and the AI are all the musicians that plays in the orchestra. So the human directs it, and the AI amplifies whatsoever the human directs. And with this, there's augmented memory. There's so much you can store in our memory and process at once. But with AI, we have augmented memory and can do so much more at the same time. The human judgment, if you have human judgment, AI capability, you are definitely going to have exponential impact that you cannot get alone if you are using your human ability or if you are using AI alone. So if you add human judgment to AI capability, you are going to have exponential impact in your research and scholarly writing. And the good thing is that humans cannot replace AI, and AI cannot replace humans too. Both of them must work together to create what neither of the two could do alone. What humans cannot do alone, or what AI cannot do alone, both the human and AI must work together to produce. And we have seen that we've gone through three scholarly eras in time past. We have the digital era, that is before 1990. The pre-digital era was when we had a physical holding of libraries and typewriter. I remember as a student, even though it was after 90, as a student in FUT, in the early to mid-90s, we will be giving assignments and we will contribute money as students. We send some people to ABU library to go and make photocopy. Some people to Islamic library to go and make photocopy, to UI library. So after you make all these photocopy, we now bring them together and combine with what we have in our own library and synthesize to be able to write our reports. And this is how it was very simple. This was the era. The world has moved into the digital era of the 90s, but in the mid-90s, Nigeria was still in the pre-digital era, where we're still using typewriter. And in the pre-digital era, it was geographically bound. You can only work within your geographical location. You only know what is happening within your geographical location. Like I said, we have to travel from Mina to other places to get information in those places to bring back to Mina to use. And at that time, if an average really good researcher will produce about 50 to 50 papers per career. In your entire career, you produce about 30 papers. That's what we had in the pre-digital era. That's before 1990. Then from the 1990s to 2020s, we had the digital era. This is where computers now replaced typewriter. And we also had internet. Accessibility. So things were no longer geographically biased, access things everywhere. And in this era, researchers averagely good will now produce about 50 to 150 papers per career. But now we are entering in the world, we are entering the intelligence era, which is from 2020 to present. We now have AI augmented cognition. Our cognition is now exponentially multiplied, and an averagely good researcher should be able to produce from 200 to 300 and above papers per career. So if you are not aiming for this, you are still in the digital era. Now, what has happened is that from these three eras, they have had transitions from pre-digital to digital to intelligence. And each time we have transition, that's always created winners and losers. The losers are those who refuse to adapt to the new. Now, the challenge is that with the new intelligence era, it has created a divide between two sets of researchers. We now have the traditional researchers versus the AI-driven researchers. We still have people who are maintaining themselves and prideful about the fact that they are traditional researchers. And we have people who are already migrating into AI augmentation. And this is creating two worlds in the academia, the users and the bystanders. The users are those that are adapting, the bystanders are those that are looking at it that it is a bad thing. If students use it, the students are criminal, and they don't want to have anything to do with AI. They see AI as everything that is bad. And we've seen a lot of publication going around that comparing the brainwave of people who use ChatGPT with people who do not use ChatGPT, and the brainwave of people who use ChatGPT has decreased tremendously. Those that do not use ChatGPT, those, if you remain in that area, you'll be a bystander. And remember what we said before. Each time there's a transition, if you do not adapt, you are going to lose. If you lose, you will not just lose, you become irrelevant in the new era. I'll give an example. How many of us remember this phone that if you do not have it then, BlackBerry, great, BlackBerry. When there was transition from buttons to touch screen, BlackBerry refused to transition. And BlackBerry is now history. Nokia too refused that transition. Nokia and Motorola were the largest, they control more than 95% of the market in those days. Nokia and Motorola. Nokia and Motorola collecting today do not even account up to 2% of the phone market because they refuse to adapt. If you remember your Kodak was one of the biggest companies in the world in its time. Then there was a time to move from that type of photography to digital photography. They refused to adapt. And Kodak is nowhere. Same thing with Polaroid. In fact, Xerox was the first company to innovate personal computer. But they refused to move with the time. They were concentrating on their photocopier. And other companies like IBM came and took over and became market leaders in the personal computing world. So if that transition has come, which it has come now, and you refuse to adapt, you are definitely going to lose out. And we don't want that for ourselves. So I challenge our scholars in Nigeria is to move transformation framework and vision. The context has to do with why it matters. I've already discussed why it matters. There's a widely digital divide that we must bridge. Then the transformation, what AI actually does for research. We have exploration tools, execution tools, and enhancement tools that we must really integrate into the framework to discuss the 4 pillars of AI integration, and finally look at opportunities and the vision for the future. In terms of the context, in 2022, there was early experimentation and there was 20% adoption of AI around the world, and MIT and Stanford University were the standard bearers. Then by 2023, Oxford and Cambridge have joined, and adoption has moved on to about 38%. By 2024, other universities like ETH Zurich and National University Singapore have also adopted, and we have integration going to about 55%. And now we have it around the world, and like we said before, integration is about 70% around the world. But Africa is still lagging behind. This is the context for our discussion. Africa is lagging behind. If we stand to lose if we delay, we do not have the luxury of time to delay. The cost of delay is that we will become invisible with time. We will become invisible and irrelevant with time. Then, understanding the transformation, we have exploration tools for literature discovery, topic clustering, citation tracking, and so on. We have execution tools for data analysis, coding, manuscript drafting, and so on. We have enhancement tools for editing, visualization, foundation, plagiarism check, and so on. So AI doesn't write your paper, it accelerates your thinking. You are using AI to write your paper and doing the wrong thing, which is ethically wrong. AI is supposed to help you accelerate your thinking. And I must note here, one of the things I've been talking about AI accelerating is plagiarism. And plagiarism isn't in the tool. Plagiarism is in the user. It is not a tool that is doing the plagiarism. It is you, the user, that's actually recording the plagiarism. So AI should not be blamed for plagiarism. So how do we reframe this? AI is not a telescope, but it's a telescope, not a torch. The torch is what we need for. But with AI, we can see further and help us think further. So what's the strategic framework for us to achieve this? Talk about literacy, ethics, skills, and strategy. In terms of literacy, what AI can do, we have to understand AI capabilities. What AI can do and cannot do, we must know this. We have to evaluate AI outcomes quickly and understand the model limitation. In terms of ethics, we have to use AI responsibly. Disclosure and transparency frameworks are important. A lot of journals like Nature, some free and observable journals have a policy for AI use disclosure. They are not saying you should not use AI, but you must disclose it. So we must be responsible with it. And Nigeria should begin to think of policy for AI use disclosure even within our system. In terms of skills, practical competencies is very, very essential. In fact, from today, the new academic literacy is prompt engineering. If you are illiterate in prompt engineering, you will become invisible very soon. Prompt engineering is something all of us are going to, if we are going to use AI very well, and must do quality control verification method, two selections for different tasks. You can't use one AI tool for all the tasks. So you must know the tool you use for each task. And of course, you have to know that if you ask AI, the first feedback it gives you, if you take that first feedback, it means you are still amateur in the use of AI. You have to really re-examine what that's giving you and ask it further questions using very important points for you to get the best. And the strategy I am proposing for us to integrate AI post-learning curricula, and for us to create AI-driven research environments, build collaborative AI research cultures in our department, and for the Nigerian universities to actually invest in AI. And the framework that we use is the ADAPT. ADAPT, I'm using ADAPT as an acronym, they will assess. Assess in the sense that you identify the inefficiencies in your own workflow at the present. D is for discover. You explore AI tools that solve those gaps that you have identified in your workflow. And A is apply. You start small and build confidence. P is perfect. After you have started small building confidence, you refine your output through iteration and peer feedback. And finally, T is teach. After you have learned it, you must teach others to become better. I got better at the use of AI when I started teaching it. And so the vision forward is that we have opportunities for Nigerian scholarship to solve this problem with local and global tools that's already there in AI, and we must be able to solve this and adapt this to our use. My final thoughts, I've been giving paper to stop. My final thought is that AI doesn't threaten your career, but AI has come to threaten the methods you are using. I'm here to announce to you that the methods you have been using already outdated. If we do not change, we will become invisible in the nearest future. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Such an insightful lecture. I'd like to invite the registrar and guest registrar, who is represented by Mrs. Leonardo, to give a quick message from the registrar.
The Minister of State for the end of this faculty, the organizing faculty, professors here present, the participants, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I stand to represent the registrar, and this is a good message. This conference is a remarkable one, and it speaks to the paper advancement of the science and technology. Europe has come at a better time than now. When all we talk about globally is innovation, science, technology, and with the adoption of AI. Let us take a moment to reflect on the depth of insight, the inspiration derived from this presentation. We've seen that science is not only the pursuit of truth, but also the foundation of development, and technology is not only a tool, but a bridge to opportunity. While innovation is not just an idea, but a spark that drives transformation in our society. We should also know that for a sustainable development, we should consider the 5 Ps, which is clean, community,
culture, care, and cultural and corporate governance. This represents a comprehensive roadmap for sustainable future. And as we move towards 2030 and beyond, embracing these principles will guide our actions, influence our decisions, and shape our world. So from the Office of the Registrar, I welcome you all and wish you all this celebration.
Please, the BBC, please we'll take a quick break for a group picture outside. While we take a leave, and then we continue the program after that. So, please, for a group picture outside.
Yes, yes.
Baba don't shut up, just say that when they say no, no allocation. Price in it up, you ain't gonna go. I feel like they don't work out. You know, come up from the floor. That is okay, you know, la. If you ready, yeah,
He's the one going on. No wonder come up. People have just wait and snap now.
Yeah. Daga bi abun nan. Okay, shi yasa kake daga min da wada. Department. Gaba daya in conference material. You know, I am supposed to be there. Most important, one of the from second. To be me one of the before meeting flag of Bobby and also old again. For yeah, but I think that program go and check how do we go about your brother is Ali Bidia. Ali Suna, maybe Sanan
Please, I would like to invite us back in, please. Let's come back. Please come back in.
Between her PhD shekaran jikin
I would like to continue with the line of events. Now I'll call on the English student from the English department to give us a brief entertainment. Yeah, they can come in, please.
What? You're not giving the gift.
Student from English department, please come forward.
Those that want to beat you, beat you. Come on, yes. Yes. You can put her on. In car available, and by the time when you see that sacrifice, in government and being opportunity, but you will be surprised. And you know, come on, take. Yes. Come on, I mean, gaskiya and carry sister, you are I did that. No, bad Gorovi. So say gaskiya salamu alaikum. No? Eh? Madam. Wallahi baby.
In a world where challenges abound, Nigeria's youth are harnessing the power of science, technology, and innovation to drive sustainable development. I am a student with complaining spirit and an innovative thinker, engaged in a lively discussion on sustainability and science. Kandi, an environmental activist, inspires them to think critically about their role in shaping Nigerians' future.
Okay.
Morning, class. Morning, sir. Good morning. So, did I management give you any assignments? Never.
Yes, sir.
So, excuse me. Wow, urgent call. Class, please excuse me. I have a very important place. It's really urgent. I need to get to that place. So, see you in my next class. Thank you. This is all water. This is my urgent call. Urgent. That's
Hello, hello, everyone. Yeah, good day. How are you doing today? Fine. How are you doing? Fine. I called regarding this current community I find myself in right now. Okay, this community is not tidy enough. It's very polluted and it's not good enough for the community's health. Okay, so how can I help? I'll be needing you to send over men of us to tidy up this community. Okay, I'll do that as early as possible tomorrow. All right, thank you. Thank you.
It's not easy. It's not for the good.
Especially that man will do urgent call. You always have on your lead that comes to you say urgent call. No,
See, I've been telling you, stop complaining.
know what you are saying. No, let me even make a call. Let me make a call. My phone is dead. And as my phone is dead like this, my head is tired. I was really tired. You don't understand.
I've been telling you, if you stop complaining, instead, let us join our hands together and create something new. Maybe lamp, something changed, and maybe a water purification system. What do you think?
Oh, shit. You've been talking about science. What has science done for me in my life?
But it's not about what science has done for you. It's about what you have done for the world. You that is talking, what have you done for the world?
What am I going to do for the world?
Maybe something as simple as reducing carbon emission and providing a sustainable living for your fellow human beings to live in.
You are just talking. You don't even know what you are saying.
Beautiful ladies and gentlemen. Okay, my name is Miss Kande and I'm an environmental activist. So I overheard our conversation, and as an environmental activist, I've seen the effects of pollution and climate change on our communities. But I believe that through innovation and sustainability, we can create a better future.
Thank you, ma'am. And that's what I was trying to make him understand. And still standing on that note, because of that, I've been working on a project to create something different, maybe just a lamp that will be sustainable for rural areas.
Take what? See what? If you are no one meeting and I don't even have what to say. See all these things you are doing, none of my business with it.
Stop being like that now.
My dear, strike him out. So I just need to put in more energy and build up your creative mind. So come up with something here after.
Always you try to disgrace yourself. Change what? I will never change.
Okay.
Urgent call, some call. Urgent call, you go sometime.
Morning, class.
No, sir.
How are we? So without any further delay or obstruction, can Michael of what we discussed in our last class?
Change. Yes, sir. We discussed something about science and technology, sir.
Okay. So I don't know if you can explain how science and technology is a driven innovation in Nigeria, in the world, and in the rural and urban areas. I don't know if you can share more light, or you can just substantiate it for us.
See, I don't even know what we said. You have an idea.
No doubt, you will not have any idea. Play with your big head, with your coconut head, play. Please help us out.
Oh, thank you, sir. Using last week's topic,
Yes.
I decided to go back home and I did some research on my own, and I came up with something like this. I have been talking on creating a lamp, something that is affordable, something that is cheap and family can use. So this is, I think, can be called a power bank. And this power bank can do two things. It can charge a phone, charge my phone now.
Wow.
And also,
See, I'm sure, sir. This thing will not work. You are just trying to disgrace yourself.
Wow. So fabulous. You mean she did this? Like seriously, these are the kind of initiative, creative minds we need in Nigeria. Those that can think critically in terms of creating something technically. What? Like seriously, what she just did now, she deserves an award. Like seriously, in this school, she deserves an award. So how do you think can even make something more creative more than this? I think if you can come together, we can create something more than excuse me. What she just did. I think I can even make a machine that will create a source from water and even make a machine that is going to cook jollof rice. Is this not the stubborn student you've been complaining about? After this class, both of you should meet me in my office. You have food. You have food. Just food. You hear from me. No, my that's very. Let's go outside. Let's see how we can make it. You don't know. Let's go out. Food. People are saying that food is life. I don't. Water is life. I don't give on this. Food is life. Yeah.
As the discussion unfolds, higher Vinicius' skepticism gives way to expressism, and he begins to see the possibilities for innovation to transform Nigeria from silent ruler through technical growth with innovation in Nigerian glory. Thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. I'd like to invite Professor Babal to the high table. Okay. Yes. All right. So moving forward, I'd like to invite Madam Ahmed Mohammed to give a goodwill message from the University Board on behalf of the University Board.
Good afternoon. For education, represented by Professor Morini Keji. My vice chancellor represented by Professor Uro. The registrar represented by Adria and Barako. All professors of the ITV and all other colleagues here over there. Mine is a very short one for universal. While we are wishing all of you a successful training or conference, I would like to remind you that we should together, all of us, we should together let us advance science, technology, and innovation to bring a large and to also minimize the cost. So I wish all the best. Thank you.
Thank you for the good presentation. I'll now call on Dr. Peace to read the citation of one of the plenary speakers in person of Professor Babal. Chairman of this event, dignitaries of this high table, please permit me to read the citation of Professor Baba Alfa. Professor Baba Alfa is a distinguished physicist, an academic leader, renowned for his contributions to energy studies and his exceptional administrative acumen in Nigerian higher education. Professor Alfa achieved his primary academic training, which culminated to advanced degrees that laid the foundation of his specialization in applied physics. Professor Alpha commenced his career at the University of Jos in 1990 and rapidly ascended the academic ranks. He joined the Ibrahim Badamisi Babangida University, Lapa, EDUA, in 2006, where he achieved the pinnacle of his scholarly life. Combining academic rigor with significant administrative capacity, Professor Alpha has held several sensitive leadership roles, demonstrating commitment and success. At IPUL, he has served as Deputy Vice Chancellor 2010 to 2014, Director Academic Planning 2009 to 2010, Dean School of Graduate Studies 2018 to 2024, Director Center for Information and Communication Technology, multiple things, Dean Faculty of Applied and Natural Sciences 2008 to 2009, Head Department of Physics, multiple times. Beyond his university roles, he provides essential service to the broader academic community. Member, National University Commission Accreditation Team, 2012 to present, significantly contributing to quality assurance in higher education. Chairman, Committee on Establishment of EDU University Institute of Maritime Studies 2012. We successfully secured a grant of 200 million for the institute's takeoff. Served as external examiner for numerous universities across Nigeria. Guest lecturer at the Nigerian Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPSS, through 2023. Professor Alpha is a fellow of several distinguished professional bodies, including Fellow, Nigerian Institute of Physics, Fellow, Solar Energy Security of Nigeria. His ability to seamlessly plan intelligence, commitment, and administrative expertise makes Professor Alpha an invaluable resource and a highly respected voice in the field of physics and energy studies. He has successfully supervised numerous undergraduate and postgraduate theses and dissertations, mentoring the next generation of scholars. I present to you Professor Alpha. Please listen to him.
It's okay.
So, Professors, I would like to invite you to send your lectures, Professor Alpha. Distinguished academic, chairman, my colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to be present here today to deliver paper, energy security and sustainable development, issues, challenges, and prospects. Give me 1 minute, my assistant books. So, I'll start this lecture to show the importance of energy as a driver of development. When we talk about energy, what comes to our mind is maybe energy resources, electrical power or electrical energy, chemical energy, and other forms of energy that we use for domestic and for industrial production. But energy is not just a commodity, it's an essential in production of services. And fossil fuel from coal, oil, and gas has powered our civilization from the Industrial Revolution to the present modern world. The less developed countries, that is, underdeveloped countries, even though the word underdeveloped is being contested, that in between the developed and underdeveloped, you have developing countries like Nigeria. So the less developed nations hope to follow a similar pattern of prosperity and development, drive their scientific and technological advancement using coal and oil at a greater cost to the environment. The developed world, for example, Europe and America, when they started the Industrial Revolution, they depended heavily on conventional fossil fuel, and that is the coal and gas and even the crude oil. But over time, we discovered that that has been having impact on the environment. And so there is a shift to a burning environment where you use less of this fossil fuel energy. But perhaps the developing world or the developing countries desire to do the same with a cheap energy that they cannot afford, or with a cheap energy like coal and gas and other means that which the developed world have used. That has been the pain. So much of the global world energy resources are located in the Middle East, North and Central Asia, and Africa. This makes Europe, America, and the rising Asian tiger, that's China, which consume much of the energy resources, in perpetual dependence, a threat to national security. Energy resources. And what are those energy resources? Energy resources are those natural resources that have been identified, considered, and based on engineering and geological knowledge to be recoverable or producible under current conditions using existing technology. As modern technology facilitates exploration, resources become understood and more amenable to economic recovery, like deep ocean exploration of crude deposits. That was not possible before, but now that can be done. There is also under the inland exploration, like Bida Basin, Gombe Basin. They are actually being facilitated by technology that is enhancing
to know how much of it is available and how it can be extracted. So when this happens, that means when technology is available and the resources are now really available that it can be extracted, resource transfer from resource category. That means it is no longer a resource category, but it becomes a reserve classification. For example, if Bida Basin, a detailed study is completed, and we have large deposit or economic value that can be exploited, then it will no longer be a resource, it will become a reserve. That means Nigerian class reserve will increase. As it is now, Bida Basin, Gombe Basin, and others are not part of Nigerian reserve. But as soon as they are well known, their deposit, the amount that is available, they will move into what we call reserve classification. However, as commodity prices becomes lower or uneconomical, reserves are classified as resources. If, for example, if the reserve classified, the extraction of it becomes uneconomical, then it will move from reserve to resources. This was as explained by a diagram by MC Kelby Box. You can see under is a reserve, is a resource. Now, feasibility of economic recovery. If economic recovery is cheap and is amenable, then resource move from classification, but resources move to reserve. Now, apart from this feasibility of economic recovery, there is what we call accessibility. Accessibility is affected by what we call political or agitation by the local people, like the Ogoni people. If Ogoni people, anytime Ogoni people go on demonstration or to disrupt oil production in the Niger Delta, you realize that this reserve is what is no longer reserve because it is not available for extraction. So it moved to reserve. So energy, Nigeria energy resources, estimates for 2022 show that Nigeria is Africa's energy giant. It is the continent's most prolific oil producer, which along with Libya account for 2/3 of African crude oil. It ranks second to Algeria in natural gas production. Most of African bitumen and lignite reserves are found in Nigeria, with a population of 223 million, GDP growth rate at 3.65% per year, and 100% energy dependence. Nigeria is one of the fastest growing populations in the world. Total energy consumption per capita was 0.8 tons in 2021. That is approximately 40% higher than the average for sub-Saharan Africa. However, Nigerian per capita electricity consumption, why I mention electricity here is the energy that can be transformed from one form to another. When you have electricity, you can use it to generate electricity and lighting your bulbs. You can use it for heating. You can use it to do so many other things. So Nigerian per capita electricity consumption is relatively low compared to the neighboring country, reaching only 140 kilowatts per person. That means each one of us here consume about 140 kilowatts per person in 2021, which is almost 3 times lower than the average for sub-Saharan Africa. Total energy consumption per capita, Nigerian per capita, Nigerian oil reserve is the 12th in the world. with cruising reserve of 27.1 billion barrels. The production capacity as at the year 2020 is 1,775,940 barrels per day. That is at 2020. This has actually culminated as a result of the lockdown, the COVID, which of course affected oil consumption worldwide because most companies, most industries closed down. So export also declined. Nigeria is also blessed with LNG, liquefied natural gas. Its reserve is estimated to be 180,490,000 million metric cubic feet, and it ranked 9th in the world. That is as of 2023. The table there shows the distribution from Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Canada, Iraq, United States, Nigeria, Kazakhstan, China. You can see Nigeria is in 12th position. And it goes like that. And natural gas reserve by countries with about 2% of the world reserve are Russia, Iran, Qatar, United States, Saudi Arabia, Turkmenistan, United Arab Emirates, Venezuela, Nigeria, China, and Algeria. That is for gas. What are the issues and prospects? In 2015, Nigeria undertook National Integrated Infrastructure Master Plan. And in that master plan, it was estimated that Nigeria will need about $1 trillion to develop its energy sector over the next 30 years, including the 600 billion naira for power, and 400 billion naira for oil and gas. How will Nigeria finance this project? Requiring trillions of naira remains a daunting task. The master plan is based on the assumption that demand for oil and gas will continue to increase. This will mean if there is political stability. However, with transition to greater energy sources, the prospect for that remains bleak. Nigeria has higher solar resource potential. You can see that's what solar energy, solar panels. The annual global horizontal irradiation ranging between 1,600 kilowatts hour per square meter and 2,200 kilowatts hour per meter square, with the highest value greater than 200 kilowatts per meter square located in the northern part of the country. Meaning La Pile also is one of those regions in the north that is rich in solar energy. The technical potential for photovoltaic in Nigeria is 210 gigawatts, considering only 1% of suitable land for use. That means if we can use those 1% of our land, we can harvest about 210 gigawatts of energy from solar. This, I can guarantee you, is more than what is currently being generated from gas turbine, from hydroelectric power, or steam powers. The technical, with potential approximately 887 gigawatts, mostly local in the northern Nigeria, where direct normal incidence is the highest. Wind. Wind is also one of the energy that Nigeria is blessed with. Wind energy has Nigeria has moderate wind potential with average speed of 10 meters per second with average speed of 10 meters per second in a height ranging, that means if you mount your wind turbine in the height between 2.1 to 8.0 meters, you could get that amount of energy. What I mean is the speed ranging between 2.1 meters per second and 80.0 meters per second. The highest value greater than 7 meters per second is located in the northern part of the country. The technical potential for wind is at 3.2 gigawatts. That means we can harvest about 3.2 gigawatts of energy from wind if only we use 1% of suitable land for the project. The National Renewable Energy Plan targets 0.17 gigawatts of grid-connected wind capacity by 2020 and 0.8 gigawatts by 2030. So it means that we will expect by 2030, which is in the next 5 years, that energy that we are going to generate from the wind in Nigeria, as projected by master plan, is 0.8 gigawatts. Hydro, Nigeria has large hydro potential of around 24 gigawatts and a small hydro potential of about 3.5 gigawatts. This potential, for most part, is yet to be exploited. As of 2015, Nigeria had about 1.9 gigawatts of installed capacity for large hydro and about 60 megawatts of small hydro. Since that 2015, Zungeru hydropower has been added, and with the privatization of the hydro generating stations, the new owners of the hydropower plants have installed additional turbines. So this projected 1.9 gigawatts is expected to have increased now. Biomass. Nigeria has a large potential for biomass resources, especially. So Nigeria has a large biomass resources. It also has geothermal meaning energy from the earth crust. If you have been to the Pocosi, I think in Ondo State, there is what we call warm spring. That means warm water coming out from the ground. And if you have also been to Yankari, there is potential for geothermal energy. Nuclear energy, as you are all aware, is also another potential. You have uranium deposit in the part of the north. Just last year, at a conference of Nigerian Institute of Physics, the Atomic Energy Commission of Nigeria told us at the gathering that China and Russia have agreed to build prosperity. Continuous use of these energy resources is sustainable as long as technological improvement that increase the efficiency of their use of these resources can offset the decline quantity of the resource base. An energy system that claims continuous rising share of the economic system that constrain human well-being in less developed countries will prove unsustainable. Energy security. Energy security refers to the ability of a nation to provide accessible, affordable, and reliable energy resources without jeopardizing economic, social, and environmental well-being of its population. Like sustainable development, the well-being of the people is central to energy security. The key issue and challenges of energy security are, number one, diversification of energy resources. That means we have to move from our dependency of energy such as on our gas, on coal, and other resources that impact our environment, also has significant energy security. Diversifying energy sources by promoting renewable energy like solar, photovoltaic, wind energy, hydro, and of course, nuclear power. The fear of many people for nuclear power in Nigeria is our carelessness. You all remember Chernobyl nuclear disaster, where one of the reactors exploded and the entire continent of Europe was affected, particularly the then former Soviet Union, which Ukraine was part. So Chernobyl is in Ukraine now. That land is desolate. You can imagine somebody can just go home and then maybe the temperature of the reactor will increase and then it will melt down, explode. And then the whole Nigeria is involved with nuclear radiation. We hope that does not happen, that when government put in place, there will also be what I would call seriousness on the part of those who are going to man the reactors. Geopolitical consideration. Energy resources are unevenly distributed. Most of the energy, as I said earlier, they are in the Middle East, in Africa, Russia, and large consumers are in Europe. Geopolitical conflict, trade dispute, political instability in major energy producing regions can disrupt global energy supply and impact energy security. For example, the current war that is going on between Ukraine and Russia has actually affected what I call supply of gas to Europe. Europe is paying higher for gas that is being imported from the United States, other than the cheap gas. But that one was self-inflicted. They imposed a sanction on Russia that they were not going to buy their gas. So they prefer to buy from America at very high rate. That also has affected their economy. The Gulf War, you remember when Iraq invaded Kuwait, the price of crude oil shot hitting the roof. Many countries, especially less developed countries, could not finance energy import. Luckily, we produced. That time, we were even earning more. But those countries that were not producing oil, they were finding it very difficult to meet their oil import. The current Ukrainian war, as I said, revealed the vulnerability of Europe's dependency on Russian oil. Africa and indeed Nigeria economies are also impacted by this war. You will recall at the inception of that war, Nigeria government imported diesel that was not, very poor diesel that not some of the vehicles or industrial machineries. That is the price you pay when you actually don't run your refineries and you rely on other people to supply you. It is important to develop resilient energy supply chains and foster diplomatic relationships to mitigate these risks. Energy infrastructures. Energy infrastructures include power plant, pipeline, transmission grid, are vulnerable to natural disaster, cyber attack, and physical disruption. Recently, when Nupen or President went on strike, remember it affected Dangote. Those are issues that actually that affect what I call security of energy in a setup. Sometimes back, we have had national grid collapse several times due to either negligence or what I would call overload or under supply or under frequency. Those things were responsible for grid collapse, and the entire nation within this year, I think, has been thrown into darkness for almost about 11 or 12 times now. I hope before we leave here, we will not also experience that. Energy efficiency and conservation. Energy efficiency improvement have been is major focus of energy generation, in particular electricity generation. Thank you. They say I should round up. So energy efficiency and conservation, supply side demand, stagnation in the efficiency of power plant implies that overall efficiency improvement must occur at end use. Meaning, what you are seeing now, in those days, these bulbs, the bulbs, incandescent bulbs that we're using were 60 watts, 100 watts, but now this one here is about 25 watts. That means we are moving towards the demand side where your energy consumption is less, so that you consume less for the little energy that is generated. Demand side management, energy conservation center. Federal government can set up energy conservation center, standard leveling, meaning only bulbs that are efficient are in the market. Levy and taxes, imposing levies and taxes for those who refuse to use energy efficient bulbs. Market transformation is also very important. DSM, that is demand side management, may prove uneconomical. It is not in their interest to develop programs that will decrease total sales of energy. Climate change and environmental concern. We have to transit from use of fossil fuel to low carbon energy or renewable energy. However, it poses challenge to energy security due to intermittent nature of renewable energy. Renewable energy like sun is not available 24 hours. Most of our states, or in Nigeria, particularly in the north, you can have just between 7 to 9 hours of sunshine. So you can see that more than 12 or 15 hours, you don't have solar energy. Balancing environmental goal with energy security consideration require careful planning and deployment of sustainable energy. Technological advancement. To advance our technology, particularly having energy storage, smart grids, advanced material, presents opportunity for increasing the energy security. Energy poverty. Access to affordable and reliable energy is a critical aspect of energy security. Many developing countries face energy poverty, where a significant portion of the population lack access to modern energy. That map that I just showed on the screen demonstrates this energy poverty. Transition to sustainable energy system. This is a paradigm shift towards cleaner renewable energy resources through scientific advancement. Fossil fuel took nature millions of years to burn. The moral question, in conclusion, the moral question we should be asking ourselves, whether we have the right to use up the fossil fuel resources within a lifespan of 2 generations and a degraded environment that will impair the quality of our lives and prosperity of future generations. The way forward is sustainable use of natural resources that guarantees the ability of the future generation to enjoy the prosperity and well-being. Thank you for listening.
Let's give another round of applause for the Prof for the wonderful lecture. 2 quick information. Please get your meal tickets ready. We'll be taking the meal immediately after the event. And also for the second announcement, the Professor Wale, representing Honorable Minister, has 3 books on sales. They are more than 6,000, but he's willing to give it at 6,000. You can get this outside at the stand. One of the book is titled AI Without Jargons, and then the second one is Unlocking AI for Academic Success. And then the last one is Promisology by the professor. As we're talking of appreciation, we would like to present plaques to our speakers, starting with the Honorable Minister, represented by Professor Wole Morano-Kezi. Please come forward for the presentation. In that light, I also like to invite Mrs. Amina Ndako to please kindly present the plaque to him.
Thank you. On behalf of the University Senate, the management, the Faculty of Natural Sciences, we present to you this plaque for your excellent performance. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I would now like to invite Professor Dixon Achimogu to come forward for his plaque. Musa, Professor Dixon Achimogu Musa. To present the gift is Malam Ahmed Mohammed, on behalf of the University of Fonsac.
On behalf of the management and staff of IB University, Faculty of Natural Science, I present this plaque to you for your excellent delivery of your lecture.
Thank you. I will now invite Professor Babal Fa for presentation of the plaque. And to present the plaque to him is Professor Amanabo. Please, sir.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Faculty of Natural Science, present to you this plan for your excellent presentations. Congratulations, sir.
So we are getting closer to the end of the event. I'll now call upon my former dean, my boss, Professor Sheikh, to give the vote of thanks. Sir. The directed that I should give vote of thanks. And I'm very happy to do that. Can we go ahead, sir? I mean, we start by thanking the Foreign Ministry of Education that gave Honorable Minister that platform to fall in love with what we are doing. And in that light, sir, please extend our sincere gratitude to Professor Swolo. That you are here means she held this conference to highest estate. Thank you, sir. Then, for being interested in representing the Honorable Minister, sir, I was expecting people to say
one of our own in all his speeches, but they forgot. Prof is one of us. Prof is of this faculty. Prof was our dean. Prof, you are welcome, sir. Thank you very much for being with us. Then the vice chancellor was there in person, but in the name of the deputy vice chancellor. So the vice chancellor, you are sincerely appreciated. You are able to release your deputy vice chancellor in the midst of all this commitment. We thank you and we keep thanking you. Professor Adisuleman, thank you so much for being able to be here, the deputy vice chancellor. We appreciate your presence. We know you have so many commitments, but you took time to be here to show the interest of this conference in the heart of the school. DVC, thank you so much. On the high table, without being official, even the faculty says, thank you so much, Professor Dixon. Thank you so much, Professor Babarifa. We know that what we said about you in the presentation, we are not up to 10% of your particulars. But because it's a conference, we gave you an information that is just little about the ability, the capacity, the interest, the talent, the knowledge, the experience of all these distinguished individuals. Thank you so much, and you're so much welcome. I know that the school, you know, only come here as an individual, us. That you are representing the registrar, we expect that very soon you will be a registrar. In that light, we say thank you very much, ma. Thank you also for taking the risk of sitting with only one other lady in the midst of all these gentlemen. Thank you. The bossa, well, we thank you in two forms. Something came through you. Thank you very much. I said something. I didn't say for Christmas or Salah, like some people will say. And being able to represent a boss, even though you are not on that seat now, sir, we thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you. Most of us were drafted to the high table, and I have the list here, and I'm seeing them here. Professors Elele, that refused to sit in the front row here. God brought her to the highest row here. Prof, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We appreciate Professor Lacan, who didn't expect to be invited to the high table. Prof, thank you so much. Professor Manabo, thank you so much. Professor Mabed, thank you so much. Of course, there was Professor Sheikh here. You were sitting here before you also left. Professor Sheikh, thank you very much for. It's not my fault. You also appreciate him. The elder Professor that you are here shows that you were here yesterday, you are here today, you'll be here tomorrow. We thank you so much for gathering this strength and momentum with this your age and experience still be with us. Thank you so much, Prof. We appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, there are so many other distinguished individuals. I don't want to say thank you to the committee. They have no option than to have done what they have done. So committee of the Fonsac, anyway, well done. The team, well done. You have no option to have done what you have done. But sincerely speaking, it's a good organization and you are appreciated. I mean to say that the whole world is watching on 3 platforms, on Zoom, on YouTube, and on Lapai TV. Please let's thank Lapai TV for being local and international. Lapai TV, thank you so much. You are appreciated. The team that presented a drama here, I was arguing with some of us here. I said, it's from MassCom. He said, no, you are from English. Are we English or MassCom? English department. You said, English call, okay. We appreciate your presentation and we are sure that the message was passed. Ladies and gentlemen, the students that are here with us, participants, forgive me, let me start with the students. If not of recent, most students don't take part in conferences. But with the interest of the lecturers, with the interest of the student, with the ability of the student, with the future forecasting of our students. They are here with us today. Distinguished students, you are all welcome. Thank you very much. Our participants, you're sitting and waiting since yesterday to this time. It's enough for me to say thank you yesterday, thank you today, and thank you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Please don't hesitate to communicate to us if there are errors in what we have done. It is not intentional. The inside to say we are very sorry. Among all the subcommittees, they didn't give me time, so I will keep talking. Among all the subcommittees, the subcommittee in charge of refreshment, thank you very much. We ate very well. We have ushers, we have students who have been part of us, ladies and no gentlemen, students from the BSc ushering. I tell you, I have BSc ushering, so sincerely, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. The security personnel, thank you so much, and thank you all the media. The DJ that was almost taking us back to 20 years, and I was forcing my leg not to share. DJ, take time. Some of this music we're trying to make us cancel our tour that we did before. Thank you so much for what you have been doing for us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you for the remark. Information, please. The technical session will start today, and it will begin immediately after we take our lunch. So we move to the ICT Center for the commencement of the technical session. I'll now call on Mr. Ezekiel Bala to give us the closing prayer. And the Lord of Lords, we bless your holy name and we give you praise and glory. Thank you for how you have seen us through this program, the plenary section. Thank you even for our guests that, Lord, you have brought all the way from far and wide. We thank you for that safety. Thank you as well for the commencement, and thank you even for the success of the plenary section. Thank you for all that have been discussed and have been presented. We give you all praise and glory in the name of Jesus. Even as we return as our guests, we ask that your safety shall accompany them in the name of Jesus. And even as we continue with the remaining part of the conference, the plenary, we pray and ask that your grace will as well sustain and see us through in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Abba Father, for in Jesus' precious name we have prayed and asked. So we can now move to get our lunch. It's take away. You just present your tickets, take and then leave. You can still pick copies outside the stand. Still 6,000 at a discounted price. You have to your presence is done. Stop playing as if gonna be money. If not, Jesus is coming. I know I'm gonna get. Now, I'm too busy to be back. I'm too busy to be back. I'm too busy to get somebody. To be somebody. I'm too busy to be back.
moving the liver for me. When you continue on with the talk in countries like the electric, it shocked me. That's because in the next club, and we talk to one, make the last one, because people is empty. And it's like you got to my room and I start to depend on the bed, depend on the head, depend on the I started the bed now. It's in the start to the year round, but that's not when I start to get some of the